President Trump wants to charge asylum seekers a fee to process their applications for entry into the U.S. The presidential memo released last night also calls for barring anyone who has entered or tried to enter the country illegally from obtaining a provisional work permit. Here to talk about this is Travis County GOP Chairman Matt Mackowiak and Elizabeth Almanza from American Gateways. Starting with you, Elizabeth, what is your take on the president's proposal to charge asylum seekers?
Thank you, Warren, for having me here today. Our take on this is that this won't stop the immigration flow coming in. Asylum seekers are fleeing because of fear. Disregarding any policy or procedures or memos, they're fleeing for their lives.
Matt Mackowiak, should asylum seekers pay for asylum?
Well, I think the Trump administration is suggesting this. This has not actually been fully proposed. It's just an idea on the table, and the Attorney General and the Homeland Security Secretary are going to review this and report back in the next 90 days. The idea here is a couple things. One, right now we're spending billions of dollars on this rapid of migrants trying to come into the country, many of whom are claiming asylum. This proposal this idea would ask the migrants to cover the cost of adjudicating their asylum claim. So it would basically zero out the cost to the taxpayer. Look, we have a huge problem on the border. We're apprehending around 100,000 people a month right now. In April alone, there were 40,000 children apprehended at the border. This is not sustainable. Now, if someone does have a credible fear claim that they can make in an asylum process, then they can come into the country. But you have to do it legally. And I think it's really important that we have a deterrent here. That's what this is about. It's about deterring people who want to use the asylum loophole to come here either legally or illegally and basically flout our laws and hope that over years they can kind of stay here and become part of the community.
Elizabeth, this idea of charging people for asylum, is that just? What do you think?
We don't think it's just. It is our right and their fundamental right to apply for asylum. There are U.S. laws and international laws that this should not be their burden to pay this fee. Now, if there's a way to improve the asylum process, it goes back to the process with the Immigration Service, with the courts, that it should be there. Look at the backlog, look how they're staffed, look if there's enough judges to process these asylum cases.
Matt Mackowiak, the president is constantly calling on Democrats to pass some kind of immigration reform. Is this an example of him taking it on by himself?
Yeah, I mean, he's deeply frustrated because Congress isn't doing anything. The Democratic House isn't doing anything. And this crisis continues to get worse. At least Democrats now are starting to admit it is a crisis. But look, we've got over 800,000 asylum claims in the pipeline that are part of that backlog. Look, there's a lawful way to make an asylum claim. It's one of two ways. One, you can do it at any United States, anywhere in the world. Number two, you can do it at a port of entry. If you enter the country illegally and then claim asylum, you've broken the law to try to then claim asylum, and that's not the way to go about it. And so we have to have a deterrent effect on the border. We have to do this lawfully, be able to process individuals, know who they are. Not everyone who's claiming asylum is truly going to be able to come in lawfully. So we have to know who these people are, whether they meet the criteria for asylum or not. And we have to do this in a way that's reasonable for taxpayers.
Okay, we are out of time. Elizabeth, Matt, thank you both very much.